Since the inception of AEW in 2019, key figures in the company have made it clear that one of their aims as a company is to release an AEW video game. Names such as Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are huge gamers, and naturally, this has influenced AEW's decision to prioritize a game being developed. Currently, there's a ton of pressure on AEW to get the game correct. It's been hyped for around 3 years now, and if AEW get it wrong, it could have lasting damage on their reputation and could cancel any future game releases that the company has planned. Thanks to interviews, press releases and live streams, we now know the key information about the game and what players can expect when the game is eventually released. So join us now as WrestleGamia looks at 10 amazing things we know about AEW Fight Forever. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when we upload a video. Number 10. Crowd models have been remotely redone. When the first teasers of the gameplay were released on social media, one of the first things players picked up on was how terrible the crowd looked. The graphics weren't up to par and players were eager to see this changed. Thankfully, AEW and the game's developers have been hard at work to fix this. In the latest gameplay footage that AEW shared on Twitch, AEW star Evoluno confirmed that Ukes have completely reworked the crowd models. There also appears a big differentiation in the amount of repeat models in the crowd. It is common for wrestling games to repeat models in the crowd, as naturally creating hundreds and thousands of unique models for the crowd would take an enormous amount of time and could add further costs. However, for AEW Fight Forever, it looks as if there is a huge variation of models, which shows just how seriously they've taken the initial player feedback. Number 9. There appears to be heat between Ukes and AEW. Now, there is concern that there is a dissension between Ukes and AEW executive Kenny Omega. According to Michael Straw from Sports Gamers Online, the relationship between Omega and Ukes isn't at a good place right now. Straw stated, "Sources have indicated that the relationship with Ukes and AEW, specifically Kenny Omega, isn't in the best place at the moment." According to those close to the game's development, Omega has found himself frustrated and hated working with Ukes. One person even claimed that some of it has come across at times like Ukes was trying to take advantage of an inexperienced Omega in this position. The report adds that the game has some development issues that has led to the game going way over budget. Due to this, there have been some issues between both sides, and there is also issues relating to the creative direction of the game. Could this jeopardize the game entirely? Well, according to Straw, the relationship can be healed, but it's entirely possible that this is the first and only AEW game to be developed by Ukes. Number 8. No planned release date. Now, the game was initially set to be released sometime in 2022, but due to major delays, this is unlikely to happen. Now, this could be a good thing for AEW and Ukes, as it would ensure that the game will live up to expectations and any bugs can be fixed. The wrestling world moves extremely quickly, and rosters and personnel can change at a moment's notice. AEW and Ukes have to be careful not to release a game that doesn't reflect what players see on television on a weekly basis. Number 7. The roster. AEW currently has one amazing roster, but sadly not all the roster can fit into the game. AEW is limited to including just 50 names in the game, which is rather disappointing when you consider that there are 125 talents on the active roster. What's funny is that WWE video games can contain over 200 playable characters, so 50 wrestlers does seem incredibly disappointing. So far, the list of confirmed playable characters in AEW Fight Forever are Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Hikaru Shida, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Sting, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Ruby Soho, Chris Statlander, and Nyla Rose. The issue is that if AEW keeps signing more talent, big names are going to be missing out on making the cut on featuring in the inaugural game. Number 6. DLC options are being explored. With just 50 names being included in the game, this leaves AEW with several options on how to combat the demand to see other names being included in the game. The main option is DLC packs, which according to several sources is a tangible possibility. DLC packs would allow players to purchase additional wrestlers that didn't make the cut. The issue here is that some huge names could be included in the DLC packs that should have been included in the finished game, and this actually might result in some backlash, as players may feel they purchased an unfinished game. Number 5. Cody Rhodes has been removed. When early footage of the game was released, one of the names that was listed and intended to be on the roster was Cody Rhodes. Due to Cody's position in AEW, he was a guaranteed roster member for the game. However, with him jumping ship to WWE at WrestleMania 38, this has led to some players questioning if Cody is going to be included on the game. On one hand, including him in the game may lead to extra sales, as there will be some WWE exclusive fans that may be interested in playing as Cody, especially if it comes out before WWE 2K23. However, there are those players who might prefer to have a roster filled with wrestlers who are actually on the roster at this time, and there may be criticism that Cody's roster spot could have gone to another wrestler. But according to SportsGamer Online, Cody will not be in the game and will not feature as a playable character. Not to worry though, the American Nightmare will be heavily featured in 2K23 when it hits shelves in the next 12 months. Number 4, plans to include a GM mode have been scrapped. GM mode is one of the most popular and beloved modes to ever feature in a wrestling game. The mode was so beloved that 2K were forced to bring a version to the mode in the 2K series, with the mode now being known as My GM mode. When Kenny Omega first discussed what he wanted to be included in the game, one of the things he openly discussed was including a version of GM mode. This excited players said this could have been a key element that set the game apart. However, it looks like AEW Fight Forever won't include a GM mode of any type. The main reason for this is, according to Omega, that AEW have a mobile game titled AEW Elite GM, which is the closest AEW fans are going to get to fantasy book their own matches and feuds. Number 3, gameplay looks fluid. A new gameplay footage of Fight Forever shows Chris Statlander and Nyla Rose squaring off in the ring. The footage is a vast improvement to the footage players were shown a number of months ago, and it looks like AEW and Ukes are heading in the right direction. The footage also features popular referee Aubrey Edwards, so she is guaranteed to feature in the game alongside Statlander and Rose. The gameplay looks smooth and actually looks like an exciting game to play. More gameplay footage is going to be required to offer players more guidance in relation to what the game will be like, but for now, the gameplay looks to be of a very high standard. Number 2, questionable models. And although gameplay itself looks solid, the same can't be said for the character models. Both Statlander and Nyla Rose look unfinished, and still images of the two make it look like they're from WWE 2K20. This was a major flaw in the early footage that AEW let players see, as character models look lazily produced and insanely dated. With this once again being an issue, AEW needs to take note that these poor character models could potentially ruin the game. AEW will want to avoid their character models turning into memes, as this will damage the reputation of the game, and it won't matter if all the other pieces in the game are well received. All players will remember is the lackluster graphics. And number 1, Owen Hart is in the game. In 2021, AEW made a major announcement, in that they're commencing a tournament in the honor of the late great Owen Hart. As part of AEW's working relationship with the Owen Hart Foundation, Owen will be appearing as a playable character in AEW Fight Forever. This is huge news, as players have been unable to play as Owen in WWE game releases, but this changes everything. In fact, the last time Owen appeared in a wrestling video game was back in 2004 in Showdown Legends of Wrestling, a game that had very mixed reviews. With Owen being in the game, this will allow players to compete in dream matches such as Owen vs CM Punk, Owen vs Bryan Danielson, and even Owen vs Kenny Omega. Owen's inclusion without a doubt takes the excitement for the game to a whole new level. But there you have it folks, 10 amazing things we know about AEW Fight Forever. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling video game content.